Welcome to the application section of section 6. We are going to talk about sleeping positions now because so much of keeping the airway open is having a good sleeping position. If you think about, you're going to spend a third of your life in your bed, and however it is that you're positioning yourself while you're sleeping is going to brace you, literally, right? Like, this is why we put broken bones in casts, because things shape into the form that you put them in. So if we're thinking about our pillows, this is even a better pillow because there's like a little divot in it. But me personally, I don't want anything behind the back of my head, because if you think about it, I'm trying to get myself out of this posture where my head is forward of my head, because this one makes the head way heavier. Every inch it's forward, it weighs 10 more pounds. So it puts so much more load on this part of the back, and then we start getting like a hunch, and it just is uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. And also, I want to just add that that's also very related to the position of your tail. If my tail is tucked, this is kind of the only position that feels comfortable to be in, versus if I can actually get my butt back, then my spine can be in the configuration that it's supposed to. I see people all the time with hunches, and I'm like, just untuck your tail. Okay, so I digress on that one. But basically, I don't put anything behind the back of my head because I don't want to brace myself into this position all night. So if I am going to sleep on my back, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, this is just like a woven skirt. I used sweatpants for a really long time with a pillowcase around it. And then I put it around the back of my head, and I make a U shape like this with it. So now you can see if I were to lay down, there's nothing behind the back of my head, and there's just a little bit of support under my neck so that it's keeping that nice bowed neck that we created this week. But then there's something on the side of my head so that I feel cozy. It's so hard to fall asleep when you fall asleep, your head goes, because it's not being held up, right? So this is how I fix that issue. If I'm gonna sleep on my side, we literally do side bow to sleep. So I get myself all set up in bed, and I try to do it the same way I would do it just when I'm practicing. Now, people always get all up in arms. I had a viral reel about this, and people are like, how do you sleep on that arm without it falling asleep? And I actually shattered this collarbone, and if you would have asked me to do this after that injury happened, there would have been like no way at all without it falling asleep. But what starts to happen as you do bow more and more and more is your rib cage gets more open, and all of your fascia isn't tugging on your nerves into this closed position. So then my rib cage is doing part of the movement, and it's happening segmentally. It's not just right at my arm bone only, so it's not tugging on any of my nerves. And I sleep like this for like 4 to 5 hours of the night before I get uncomfortable. And I'm getting so used to it that I don't even need a pillow now, which is really nice because we want the head to be in line with the spine. And if I use a pillow, you can see it's going to start lifting me up like this. However, when I first started sleeping like this, I could not get comfortable in my head without something. So I would put this underneath my neck more than my head, because I don't want my head lifted up, right? And I might even put it back here behind my arm. So again, it's kind of cradling my head. When and if this gets uncomfortable on your arm, all you do is you just bring the arm in front of you, and then you make a little donut shape. So there's a hole in the middle here for your ear. And now I have a super comfy way to sleep. The really important part about this position, no matter what variation you're doing, is that your butt is back behind you enough that your belly is open and your throat is open, because that's going to allow your airway to just passively stay open while you're sleeping. And a few more notes here. If you are going to sleep on your side, sometimes people really want to put a pillow in between their knees. Again, that's not going to be as necessary as you continue to repattern your fascia, because your body's just going to be more comfortable as your body. But if you feel like you need to use a pillow at first, be mindful that if you just put the pillow in between your knees, it's actually going to close your pelvic floor like we've talked about. Anytime that the knees just passively open without the butt actively coming back, it makes the pelvic floor narrower. So just move that pillow down so it's between your knees and your feet if you need that. I'm gonna come back onto my back here so you can see how I back sleep. I just position that around my head. And now my right knee hyperextends. And I know there's a lot of you hypermobile bodies in here. Now that I'm on my back and you can see this U shape around my head, which is seriously such a comfortable position. And you have to make sure here that your butt is coming back and your head is coming back so your airway stays open, right? I could still be in a tucked position even like this. And that's what the deal is you want to be making the shape with your body, and then you're just using as little support as you need until your body can hold the shape itself. With that said, my right knee especially hyperextends, and it's gotten so much better since doing bow. Like I used to wake up with like pain and lymph pooling in that leg because it would hyperextend so much in the night. That never happens anymore, but it still occasionally will get a little bit achy. So what I will use a pillow for sometimes is just to put it behind my knees. And I always try to make my tacos a little bit before I fall asleep because I just want my fascia to know I don't actually want my knee to be able to hyperextend. So I'm actively working on that. But I use a pillow in the meantime so that I'm not, anytime we just like rest on the ligaments like that, it will shape them more into that shape. So as far as sleeping goes, I have been lately experimenting with sleeping on a harder surface. I was sleeping so good when I couldn't sleep and I would come downstairs and sleep on, we have like a little foam pad under our rug, and I slept so good on that I was like, I think I need to sleep on a harder surface. And I realized that my bed was doing the same thing that I stopped using a pillow for, which was it was rounding me into this position and making that the position that I was in all night long. And it honestly like really started to bother me. Like I went through a period where I was like, I don't even want to touch the bed, which now I'm feeling a lot more moderate about that, which is awesome for my husband because he loves to cuddle, which is fantastic. However, sleeping on a firmer surface is like life-changing. Like I feel like I wake up so much more refreshed and I have way less back aching. I used to like have to do all this mobility to try to get my back to feel good in the morning. And I just realized like, this is not efficient. Like I should not be having to do all this stuff every day. So right now I'm sleeping on a sheepskin rug. And I absolutely love that setup. And we're going to keep experimenting with the best way for us to be able to actually sleep together in bed still. But a firmer surface is you have to get used to it. I wouldn't just rush into it. You work up to it and you train yourself first by repatterning your fascia in the day. And then as you feel ready, maybe you take naps on firmer surfaces, and then maybe you start to sleep for just the beginning of the night on a firmer surface, and you have a little bit more cushion and slowly work yourself down. And you're not gonna sleep as soundly because you're gonna have to actually think about your positioning, but you're gonna get more of your mobility that you would be doing all day during the nighttime. And I actually feel really well rested. So still experimenting with that, but I just wanted to mention that. One more piece of sleep advice that I wanted to mention is I have this silk face mask and I absolutely love it. We don't have curtains and we have a very open air room. So making it totally black would be really challenging. So this has served us really well because it's super important for it to be dark when it's supposed to be dark and get full sun when it's supposed to be when it's sunshiny, so that your body can regulate its circadian rhythm and its hormones in general. So this has been a lifesaver, especially when you're traveling, because other rooms always will have like some weird alarm light or like something blinking in the kitchen or whatever. And when you're used to sleeping in a dark area, it can be really annoying. So try that. And the last thing we're going to talk about here is just how amazing side bow is as a position to do stuff in general. So of course I get to the time of the day where I'm like, I can't hold myself up anymore. And in those circumstances, we talked about how I like to have like a recliner or use a pillow behind my back or something so I can just get completely chill with my belly and my throat open, right? Versus ever letting myself shrimp into this position. And then I use side bow a lot. So I'm going to go down into this position and show you. So you can have a pillow or not have a pillow, but I will read like this. I'll scroll on my phone like this. I'll make Instagram reels like this. And I also have worked with patients helping them be able to nurse like this, because this is a very similar position to what we want in our babies, to be able to latch where their throat and their belly's open and their butt is back. So if we're doing that in our own body, we get to mirror that for the babies easier. That's it.